June is digging a grave for John. She is tirelessly broken by his death, gets him into it, takes his gun and intends to use it. Hill aims at her and asks her to throw it. She asks, "Why did your sister kill him?" She is alive because of Dakota. Ginny says she doesn't know. June says, "Perhaps you know." She puts soil back on the grave. Rangers have brought everyone in line. Victor is here and asks them to stay silent for not a bad conclusion. They are here. June is here. Lucy says how many people will have to die for her. They hit Daniel. She wants them to tell her where he's hiding. She asks Daniel. He says he doesn't know. She aims and removes the safety. She asks Lucy and all of them one by one. She says, "All right, if you want this, then this is it." She asks Morgan to immediately bring Dakota to Lawton, or she'll blow up Grace's brain in front of all. They aim at her and wait for her signal. He's here at the exact time. If anything happens to anyone, she'll not get Dakota. He says, "Today your game is going to be over, and it's terrifying." He knows because it has happened to him once. He says all of them should listen to her truth. She has rules that she'll ruin what will endanger her future, but she doesn't follow them herself. Dakota killed Ranger Cameron, trapped Janice, and murdered her. She's lying to them all. This place has no future with her. It never had. Victor says Morgan is right and aims at Ginny. Says, "You had asked me to be ready for a big show. Here he is, and they as well. This is his army. They want to do the same to her as Janice." She tries. He shoots her. Hill comes in front of her. She takes Grace at gunpoint. Everyone shoots at each other. Both armies engage in an intense fight. June and others hide. Ginny and Hill take people. That's Grace and Danny as cover. Vic orders his men to kill them. Hill gets Danny and Grace inside. She takes cover in his truck. Morgan gets to her and asks her to call them back. She wants Dakota back. Vic wants her. She asks him not to give her. He gets her inside and leaves. He shoots a bullet. He takes care of her wound. He asks her to call Grace and Danny. They say they're safe and tell Hill about being at the water tower near the grid. She says she took good care of her and the baby. She says he can't kill her. He adds, "Right, until you have Grace and Danny." He tells her about Dakota saving him that night. She was there to see her being killed. She doesn't believe. He shows her a note. She cries and says she wants to meet her. She wants to first meet her because she can't tell him. It's that she's her daughter. He asks if it's true. She says she was young. He gets up to check and asks her to get up. They run to the truck. The MRAP is here. It constantly tries to get them at once. They escape the MRAP, but it's still on them. The fuel tank is hit, so they stop. He gets out and runs on foot. Sherry and others spread to get them. They're right on them. They split. Ginny falls and gets under a tree. An undead is coming. Sherry kills it. Morgan forbids her because his own people will die. Ginny says she doesn't know her from any franchise. He falls on her. She calls him as bad as her. He says her punishment time will come, but it's not now. They get out of there. She's in pain. He asks again about Dakota so that he can get her to her. She asks where he's taking her. He says her ranger Isaac found a place. They're going there. Ginny asks him to let them go. They'll go very far. He says she doesn't want to go. She shot him, sent a bounty hunter, and her daughter killed his last best friend. Ginny says we're the same. He says, "Now let's go." She sees his place, says he has been quite busy. Alicia opens the door. Ginny says she had seen Dwight and Al's bodies. He tells them she has lost Lawton. Hill has Grace and Danny. Dakota is the only way to save them. She is in wonder. It has reminded her of her grandparents' garden. Alicia leads them. She asks what they call this place. She wants to talk to Dakota. She's in the church. Strand, along with 12 rangers, is here. Now the MRAP is here as well. They all are claiming for Ginny. Vic silences them. She asks what they have to do. He asks Vic. He says he wants justice and the real version of the truth. Alicia asks if they don't give her. He says they'll take her. Alicia says she'll try to talk to Strand. Ginny says she wants to change her deal. She will go outside, and in return, Dakota will live here. Dwight says if not Rangers, Sherry will kill her. Morgan wants her to first talk to her. Ginny says it'll be easy without meeting her. She says they want to twist the knife to make her feel. She will release Grace and Danny right now if he'll do her work. They think about it. He asks her to call them for the deal. They bring her out. She wants to say before dying that she did all to keep them alive. Vic wants him to give her to them. He says she has released Grace and Danny, so he has to let him do it. He asks her to come to the rock. She takes the cloth out of her neck and places her head. Morgan keeps it intact to use it. He has all glimpses of all sad events from the past, and he stops. He says, "You said you're doing everything for your kid's future. If we'll start it like this, we'll not be different from others. This is no satisfaction. She will have to tell the truth." He asks her to keep walking back. They bring her to Dakota. Strand is on the radio. Alicia forbids Dakota to mess up anything and gets out of the room. Dakota doesn't even want to listen to her. She does want to see her. She asks, "Why did you treat me like that, and why did you kill my parents?" Ginny tells her the truth about being her mom. She says grandparents didn't protect her and Ginny. She says she did all to make sure what happened to her wouldn't happen to her. But to do it, how she did it was bad. Ginny says she can have a second chance. Dakota says, "Then why did you even bring me to this world?" Danny and Grace are here. Morgan, Alicia, and Dwight get out and tell them she is still alive. He reminds them that John said this earth is shed with blood. He wanted bloodshed to stop. He wants the same, and if they want so, they should begin with keeping her alive. He keeps his weapon at the rock and promises to never touch it unless needed. Sherry wants them to get her out. Strand and Dwight tell her that because of her, there shouldn't be more damage caused. He says, "You know well what you're doing." He announces that whoever is ready to accept the rules of this place can live here. He had told before to just live, and they can start it right now, today. June gets down, takes her hat, and moves towards him. Jacob and Sarah have brought Grace. He gets to her, hugs her, and apologizes for taking this long time. She says she wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for him. She takes her hat and says, "What you went through here, you're the same man I had known." Jacob gives John that letter he had given him at Lawton. Sherry isn't going in with Dwight. She says he was right that she didn't feel she thought she would when she had the chance to kill Ginny. She is not where he is. She doesn't need anyone. She will find it herself. Vic is going because he thinks this place isn't for him. He says that thing for which Virginia was making this army is still there. He asks her to go with him. She wanted to do it together, but he said he didn't want to. Now, why should she believe him? Vic leaves after knowing she'll not come. Rufus brings Ginny to the waking world. It's the second time she has saved her life. She thanks her. They have decided that she'll leave with Dakota. They can't show their faces again. She can take the pass in the mountains after the river. Rangers won't see her. Alicia will bring Dakota. June has to change her dressing. Virginia says if you want, you shouldn't give a lick. She should apologize to her for many things. June tells her about Rose. Every survivor died in a camp when she was trying to save her daughter, so now her love is killed by someone else's daughter whom they were trying to protect. Virginia says, "You were just trying to protect your daughter, as I was doing." It stops June. She asks if she knew about that, what she could do about Cameron at Lawton, and still protected her. She can do anything for her daughter. She takes out the gun which Dakota used to kill John. She says, "You didn't protect your daughter after she killed someone." She had asked the question, why did Dakota kill her husband? She said no. You were always the reason. June kills her and walks away with John's hat. They keep calling her from behind, but she doesn't seem to care about anything but her deceased husband and leaves the settlement.